Welcome back to another episode of Vikings Happy Hour, sponsored by Lake Monster Brewing and That's Badass Wood Art. Remember to use promo code CTPocket on that'sbadasswoodart.com for 20% off any one item. And while you're here, please help us hit our goal of 3,000 subscribers by the NFL draft. We need your help to do it, so tell your friends, tell your family, go ahead and click that like and subscribe button, and come back to all the content we have for you, including today's, which is a post free agency, kind of, because we're still in the middle of free agency, but a post signing mock draft, I think is a good way to put it. Obviously, the Vikings went out and signed Byron Murphy, Josh Oliver, Marcus Davenport, brought back some key people like Bradbury, Alexander Madison. To be determined when this episode drops if they sign another one, but insert that player's name here if they do. So we're going to just take a little bit of a different approach now as we know what they've done so far this offseason, and dive into the mock draft. So are you ready, Miles?
I'm ready. Yeah, I think at 23 we can really focus on some of the future needs the Vikings have. I mean, current and future.
Yeah, I agree. So we're going to enter this draft and just get started. Board kind of following is what you'd think, Yeah. There goes Anthony Richardson. All 4 quarterbacks off the board already in the top 10. I don't foresee the Vikings trading up, but they could. I think we've been in agreement that if they do, it's going to be a kind of pre-draft move in an attempt to move up from there. So,
of course, Jordan Addison has to go that pick right before it. God damn.
So here we are at 23. Obviously, the biggest need still is wide receiver and
corner. I'd say that. I say both.
And corner. So let's take a look at a few of them, and we can go from there. So we'll start with wide receivers available. You got Zay Flowers, who I know you're a big fan of, Boston College, very electric type of receiver, who I think would fit very well with Justin Jefferson, and can kind of be that deep threat for him. Additionally, people kind of say he's just an inside guy, but at Boston College, he played outside quite a bit and showed that he could beat press coverage. So
see, for me, that's the difference between him and Josh Downs. I like both guys a lot, but I think Zay Flowers has a little bit more of the inside out ability, whereas I think Josh Downs is not a slot only receiver, but I think that's where he's going to be the best at the next level.
Yeah, 100%. So I think when you look at some of the other receivers, Nathaniel Dell, I'm not taking him round one. I know we like Michael Wilson, but not a round one guy for me either. So
he's not even a top 2 round guy for me, mainly because of injuries and just the smallest sample size. I like him, but I wouldn't take him even closer. Can you go down a little bit further real quick with wide receivers just to see? I just want to see who's all left still, just so because we don't have a pick again until the 3rd round.
Yeah.
So who are some hypothetical guys we think that could be there at 87? Rashee Rice, A.T. Perry, Tyler Scott, Parker Washington. I see Jalen Hyatt seems to be dropping a little bit, but Jaden Reed would be a guy that I'd really target at that 87th pick.
Yeah.
Marvin Mims, we know our guy Ryan. If he was here, he'd probably tell us to take him right now.
Yeah.
Trey Palmer. So
there's some good guys still there.
There are some good guys here. I think in a perfect situation, we trade down if the quarterbacks are gone, or the top 2. For me, I got Jordan Addison and Jackson Smith and Jigba as the only first round wide receivers for me.
Yep.
I'd be okay taking Zay Flowers at 24, 23, just because you kind of don't have any other options potentially, I think. But I'd ideally trade back and take one of those, him or Josh Downs, in the 2nd round.
Well, let's take a look at a couple other positions here. So cornerback is another one that we could look to address. Deonte Banks is there, Forbes, Cam Smith, Tyreek Stevenson. Again, to your point, don't have a pick till 87. This is a deep cornerback class with a lot of potential.
Keep going down.
Garrett Williams. Obviously, we like Julius Brents.
Yep.
Keely Ringo. Just trying to list off guys that would fit our scheme.
Yeah, the tough part is a lot of these guys it'd be with this in like the Zay Flowers, Josh Downs situation at wide receiver. I'd really want to trade down here. I don't think we have to,
Yep.
obviously, but like in an ideal situation because of how the board fell, if you could find somebody that really wanted a Deontay Banks or something, um, but like that's kind of who I'd lean at here, though. To be honest, is Deontay Banks.
Okay. Do you want to look at another position or look at trades?
I mean, we could explore it if it don't need to take too long to do it, though. But I
Yeah.
mean, this is obviously the most important pick the Vikings have, so
So the
let's kind of see how we
Texans,
can play it.
Panthers, Falcons, Commanders, Dolphins, and Bears all would like to move up with us.
So is that 33? Pick 33. That's not a bad spot, but what can you get back? Is the question because they don't really have. They have 65, which you're obviously I wouldn't even consider moving from 23 to 33 without 65, and probably what?
So those are the minimums, right? This is where we're at right now.
But then I'd probably need like 104 or 160, like one of those other picks.
They won't do 104.
But maybe we could do like a 104 swap and then swap 119, something like that. You know what I mean?
Let's give it a whirl. No, they didn't like it.
They said no. That's fine. I mean, shoot, we could even consider swapping 87 and 73 if they'd be open. No, they wouldn't do that.
No, they wouldn't.
No, but that's okay. I'm trying to. Who else were the other ones that you said we had?
Well, we had the Dolphins, the Bears, the Falcons.
But is 33 like the closest pick? Like
Panthers,
the
Panthers would be the next closest at 39.
I just don't want to drop that far.
Well, let's see what we can do with them here. So they might just take 33 and 65. I know you want more. Should we try?
Well, I mean, that's where I view like a yeah. I mean, I'd be okay with that. Maybe you could get a future fourth. Actually, yeah, do a future fourth instead. See if you can do that.
They don't like that, I don't think. They took it though.
There it is. See, you get
all right.
Current and future. So yeah, let's see how the board falls because I think I'd be leaning cornerback here with this next pick mainly because I expect like a Deontay Banks to go, Josh Downs to go. Shit. Yeah. But that's all right. I think like we talked about, now we have a pick at 65, and so then we can load up at we could take the best. I don't know what cornerbacks are left now, but we could take the guy we like the most here. Maybe Cam Smith, Tyreek Stevens.
Yeah, so I'm not in love with those guys at this spot.
No.
If we had moved back 10, 15 more picks, I'd probably be on board with that.
Yeah.
I also am not loving the wide receiver thing. So while we did accumulate picks, now I'm thinking
a Will McDonald's is solid. Like we could always use edge help.
Yeah.
I really like Will McDonald.
I think it's not a splashy pick, but Mozzie Smith would fill the defensive line for at least 5 to 7 years. And I think he's got great upside as an interior pass rusher, but also just kind of clogging the middle of that defensive line.
I don't know as much about Mozzie as some others, but that's good to know.
Yeah. Yep.
I know Ede Tomowa out of Boraway, the Northwestern kid you just passed.
Yeah.
I know he's been climbing up boards, and I think it sounds like Mel Kiper has him in like the top 10.
Oh, wow.
So that maybe that's not as realistic, but he could be an option as well.
So based on that information and based on what we've done in free agency, where are you leaning?
If you like Mozzie Smith, let's take it, and then we could look at wide receiver and cornerback with the next two picks.
All right.
Let's just check it out, see what it's like.
We'll see what happens. We'll speed up this draft a little bit here.
Yeah.
Some of the corners are coming off the board pretty quickly.
Yeah. I like taking different approaches to different mock drafts. I don't like always just doing the same shit over and over and over because then you're really in a situation where you're like forcing yourself to, I don't know, it's just not as fun. Okay, so you got Tank Dell, Garrett
we got a couple
Williams.
guys here.
We could even consider Tanner McKee. I mean, if the Vikings were to look at, I'm not saying we should, but I mean, it's an option. The Vikings at quarterback, I would expect the Vikings to, if they don't trade up for one, I wouldn't be surprised at all if they took a quarterback in like the middle rounds. Wouldn't be
100%
surprised.
agree. Yeah. I'm intrigued by Nathaniel Dell, or Tank Dell as people refer to him.
Didn't test as well as I was hoping, but I like his game.
The one guy here, and we can look at more of the wide receivers and corners, but the one guy who's right at the top here, Garrett Williams, I really like him. The reason he's kind of fallen down draft boards is mainly due to his injuries last year, but a lot of people heading into last season expected him to be a top corner in this draft class. He's got all the traits that you'd want in a physical outside corner, somebody that you could really just leave on an island to shadow an opposing team's wide receiver. So Garrett Williams is a guy, at least for me, that I really enjoy. But I do have a habit of picking him in every single mock that I do. So maybe we should do something else. So any other cornerbacks you see here that you're interested in at 65?
I think one guy that like is a little bit underrated is Eli Ricks.
Okay.
I think he's a solid player. Darius Rush is another one. He's kind of that click and close. Like he's got that speed. He's really quick. We watched him down at the Senior Bowl, and he was sticking really well with the corners. And I know he's got a teammate in the drafts as well. So like guys like him, or I'd be okay with here. Clark Phillips is a good pick. I think any of those cornerbacks. But I'd probably lean Garrett Williams there.
Okay. You're gonna let me dictate
Yeah.
this, or should we look at other positions?
Let's look at wide receiver quick. But I'd be cool with Garrett Williams, to be honest.
It's got Tank Dell, Michael Wilson, A.T. Perry, the guys we kind of talked about in the first round as potential later round picks for us. Rashee Rice.
See, like a Rashee Rice, Jaden Reed are guys that I'd really want to target at 87.
Yeah.
Michael Wilson too, obviously. Trey Palmer, maybe more of a fourth round. But I'd be okay going corner with this pick, and then leaning like a Jaden Reed at 87, for example, or Rashee Rice.
I'm gonna do it then. Oh, and I know I take him in almost every mock draft, but the way we've seen the board fall with corners already, I'm worried there might be another surge. And then there's still a lot of good receivers that we like from that group that we can target at 87. And I think this is also a good pick because you can kind of let Garrett Williams sit, recover still from that injury, and then get him out on the field. So,
and then we're not also like reaching on a position because we want it.
Correct.
And that's the tough part. As much as I like some of those receivers, I don't want to force a pick there. And of course,
and a lot of them are going off the board.
I think he's still there though. We might have to take Jaden Reed here and run. Or Mike.
So we got Michael Wilson. Again, we're talking injuries. And Kwesi already got a lot of crap last year for the injuries that his rookies had.
Yeah, I know. I might lean Jaden Reed here.
You are the wide receiver expert, so I will defer to you on this. But we need to take one, I think.
I think so too. But the more I watch of him, the more I like really like. There's suddenness. But he also tested really well.
Okay.
To go with that, so he's just the guy that I think he ran a 4.45. He's kind of got some comps to like a Stephon Diggs. Like his breakout age is like 98th percentile. Like he's got a little bit of the traits that you look for someone that we have his college teammate in Jalen Naylor.
Miles, I'm hearing that you want Jaden Reed.
I think we should go Jaden Reed here. Let's do it.
It's sold. Pick 87, Jaden Reed, Michigan State. So the Vikings have now addressed corner, wide receiver, defensive line. So now it's really just free reign. Whatever we want to do, we can go in any direction. We can start looking towards the future, maybe trying to find depth behind pieces. Linebacker is maybe one that we should look at.
Linebacker. I would have said running back if we hadn't brought back Alexander Madison on a 2-year deal. It's not even just a 1-year deal, but it's a 2-year basically guaranteed deal. So that kind of changes things a little bit there.
Yeah. Here's a guy right at the top here, somebody that we saw at the Senior Bowl.
I do like Pace.
The other
Aubrey,
guys,
I liked Aubrey Miller was fun. He's obviously like a day 3 pick. He unfortunately wasn't invited to the combine. D Winters is another one that I think is an underrated pick here as well.
yeah, I think that's probably a little bit later, or
Yeah,
later
for
for a
sure.
pick for us. If we're looking here at potential, people we could draft as a linebacker, I mean, I think we're kind of tapping out here between these top two, Cam
Yeah.
Jones and Pace Jr. I liked what I saw from Pace though at the Senior Bowl. I
Mm-hmm.
haven't really sat and watched his tape, but he's got some speed to him, and some physicality, so we don't have to worry about that. Um, and the other important thing is I don't think you're drafting a linebacker here to start. I think it's one of
Right.
those things exactly like, I know we want to equate everything to previous years. How can you find the next Cam Dantzler? Well, he's already gone, but the next Brian Asamoah. I mean, I think this is a potential spot for that, to
Yeah.
allow him to play on special teams, develop, and I definitely think that Brian Flores will insert some youth onto the field a little bit more. Any other positions you want to take a look at?
Well, let's go see what else is there. So the best, like, I like Parker Washington. I don't know enough about KJ Henry.
I've heard a lot about JL Skinner, but I have
Yeah,
not watched him.
he did solid at the Senior Bowl. But I'm not sure how I feel about his fit. He's kind of like the hybrid linebacker safety type, which isn't a bad thing at all. So there's some of that J-Ron curse to him.
Okay.
Uh, hmm.
Yeah, the running back thing is really throwing my mock draft off because this is probably the area where I would look to target one. And now, to your
I'd
point,
take Sean Tucker in a heartbeat here if we hadn't brought, like, I don't know
right,
what's going on with Cook, but with Madison and Ty Chandler, I'd have a harder time spending a top 150 pick on a running back. Not that we couldn't,
right.
but just makes it a little bit tougher. Are there any interior offensive linemen we want to look at?
Yeah, we can browse that real quick.
Andrew Voorhees, I know he got hurt, but honestly, Matt, that might be because he got his guard center
Yeah,
flexibility, but
yep.
also he doesn't have to start right away. And he's like, Ezra Cleveland's going to be a free agent after the year. So that could be kind of like your Ezra Cleveland replacement, or even a Garrett Bradbury replacement, or even an Ed Ingram replacement if Ed Ingram can't get it together, right? Like, I think adding, because I know they brought back Chris Reed, and I know that they brought back who's the
Schlotman.
backup center, Schlotman, but
Yep.
neither of those guys are really anything to write home about. I'd be comfortable taking Voorhees here and kind of letting
I
him, like,
I'm content with that too. And so I'll probably pull the trigger on it. But one thing I want to call out, if you haven't yet, go watch Chandler Zavala, out of North Carolina State. He's a big guard,
he is,
um,
yeah.
but he can move, and he would be. I mean, he looks more so like a run blocking guard for us if we were to take him and he ever made the starting lineup. But he's a guy that I've watched a little bit on him and am intrigued as a depth piece for sure. But I'm good with your
Yeah,
pick here as we go to 158. Of course, Pace Jr. goes the pick right after us,
of
but
course.
that's
That's all
okay.
right.
With only 2 picks left, I think linebacker is one that I'm looking at. I'm also trying to think about quarterback, some
Shoot,
late
I mean,
round guys.
I'd be open to another wide receiver if a guy we like's there.
All right, well, let's check it out quick. Wide receivers left on the board:
Bryce Ford Wheaton,
Dontavian
Dontavius
Wicks.
Wicks. He kind of gives you some of that. Like, those are bigger guys.
Yeah, I like Ronnie Bell. I think, was it you or Ryan that does not care for Ronnie Bell?
Probably Ryan. Puka, I like Puka too. By the way, he's a separator. Um, he's kind of in that mold. I like him. But nobody else is really like truly jumping out at me. I'm like, oh man, we gotta.
I'm gonna just check quarterbacks quick, see who's out there. So you got O'Connell, Jake Hayner, Stenson Bennett, not touching that with a
My
10-foot pole.
My guy DTR went. Damn.
Nope,
Oh
he's
no,
down here.
dude, I would take DTR in like a heartbeat.
Right at
I think
158?
we got 2 picks left. I mean, what's that round, 5th? I'd take him in the 5th round. I got no problem taking him in the 5th round. I know it might be an unpopular opinion based off some of the other guys that are available, but I think he has more of the tools than anybody else.
Project quarterback, go get your guy.
Project quarterback, but he's also had a lot of experience too. So, I mean, I think you put him as Kevin O'Connell with that arm, that he's got the arm talent and the rushing ability. I mean,
did it.
I'd do it. If they don't, why not? It doesn't hurt anything. You see if you got something there this year, and
yeah,
it doesn't stop you next year from going after anybody either.
I think at times when we do these mock drafts, we get to these later picks and we try to outsmart ourselves, but really,
yeah,
we can take project guys, and it's okay. We don't have to always find the steal. We can take chances.
The idea about draft picks in itself is draft picks are about the future. Like,
right.
Yeah, you might get contributors early, which is what you need and you want, but the draft picks are about the future, and you should be focusing on that. D Winters, I'd take D Winters here, to be honest, or I'd take Puka, but I'm cool with whatever you want to do. You could pick this one. I got the last one.
Yeah, so I'm torn because I do feel like we need a linebacker, at least from a depth perspective. But in round 6, you're probably not getting a starter by any means. It really is just going to be special teams, and there's even potential they don't even make the starting roster. So if that's the case, later rounds, I want premium positions with upside, and I think that's what you get here with Puka, and so I'm gonna go with it. Though I don't know a whole lot about him, so if you could just fill me in a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, to me, he's a crisp route runner. He's a guy that I think can gain separation. I wish we had gotten to see more of him at the Senior Bowl. He got banged up after the first practice, but he's a guy that I've watched on tape that he's got strong hands. He seems to understand nuance and has the ability to understand coverage and leverage. One of those guys in the late rounds, I think, in that like Olabisi Johnson mold, that like he may not be the most athletic guy, but I think he understands the game and understands how to play receiver and get open. Oh man, look at our late round grade. Oh, how is DTR in the 5th an F? Maybe because they haven't ranked so low, but
yeah,
man.
I mean, but here's the thing: if you look at this draft class here, you're filling almost every spot you need to, and you're setting yourself up for the future on every single part of it. I think Mozzie Smith is great to pair alongside Harrison Phillips.
Tell me a little bit more about Mozzie, Matt. I know a little bit, and I've seen a little bit, but I can't sit here and tell you that I like know everything about him.
Yeah, I know. I think I messaged you one time in our DMs, but he reminds me a little bit of Michael Pierce, with just a little bit more strength and speed to him. He's got that similar stature.
Strength than Michael Pierce?
Yeah. He's got that similar stature to Michael Pierce, which is why I immediately think of him. But just when you watch him, I don't think his technique is the cleanest, but he gets it done, and he can sift through traffic easily. He consistently is there stopping the run or getting interior pressure. And so that's why I think if you put him alongside these guys like Harrison Phillips, Danielle Hunter, Zadarius Smith is still on the team, and now Marcus Davenport, and you actually can cover a little bit with your secondary, I think he could be a problem for some teams, and I'm comfortable in the second round taking him 100%. I've even seen him go in the first round at times.
I love that. I think the Vikings could really use a space-eating interior defensive lineman that can disrupt, and they don't have that. Harrison Phillips is good, but he's not like a disruptor. He's more of a like runs. He's good against the run, but he's not like a run stuffer.
Yeah,
he's kind of like tweener hybrid type. But Mozzie would truly be your like 3-4 nose tackle.
Yeah, he's a big boy. I was trying to see quick what his size was specifically.
He's 6'3", 323.
He's a big boy, and he's young too. I mean, he's only a junior when he's coming out.
34 34 on the bench, which is important for a position like his.
Yeah.
To be strong on the bench.
Yeah, I think he tested decently well, but he wasn't at the combine, I don't believe. But yeah, I think Mozzie Smith could be a great pick for the Vikings. So
I think that's an underrated idea too. Like, I know
yeah,
we get hung up on cornerback, wide receiver, but if the board falls a certain way and you trade back, a guy like that, I'd have no problem with. It's not flashy, but I'd be cool with it.
absolutely. So we'll continue to do a few more mock drafts, but the schedule is getting busy with guests the next month here. So and it starts next Monday with Russell
We should
Brown of Fantasy Pros.
make someone like him or Matt Collar do a
Do a mock
mock
draft.
draft with us. Yeah,
That would be fun. Maybe we'll do that with Caller in a week
yeah.
from now. So, but yeah, if you haven't yet, please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Like we said, a ton more content coming down the next month or so, and continuing into the Vikings training camp and the regular season. So until next time, everybody, SKOL Vikings.